Can Birmingham City make the top 6 in the Championship this season? Hello guys, welcome back to yet another video. Today we are focusing on Birmingham City, the longest serving Championship team. Before we get into this video guys, do make sure to hit a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Do share your opinions down below, especially if you're a Blues fan. I want to see if you're feeling optimistic, pessimistic or in the middle about this season so far, because we are at the midway point. And as I say, Birmingham City are now the longest serving Championship team. After Derby's relegation and Nottingham Forest promotion, Birmingham City have been in the Championship for 11 years now since their relegation from the Premier League in 2011. It's not a terrible stat, but if you look at their recent record in the Championship, in the last 6 seasons, they have not finished in the top half once. They have finished 19th, 19th, 17th, 20th, 18th and then 20th again over those last 6 seasons. So it's certainly not suggesting a trend up for Birmingham City, but I must say this season at the halfway point they are 14th. They're only 5 points off the playoffs. What is it that John Eustace is doing right with Birmingham City this season? I've got to say, after Lee Bowyer came in towards the end of that 2021 season, I thought he could be the manager to push Birmingham City towards the top end of the Championship, at least in that playoff discussion in the top half. Obviously he did amazing to keep them up in that season, but as you can see over last season, things didn't really progress and Birmingham City finished in the bottom half yet again. So then John Eustace came in as the Birmingham City manager, a guy who knows this division as a player, but he's not all too experienced as a manager, but he's certainly proving to be a decent manager so far this season. Coming into this season, they did make good additions to the squad. John Ruddy and Chong were certainly notable additions, but they've also brought in key players on loan this season: Sanderson, Bielik, Placheta, Hannibal Mejbri, Trusty and Longello. And some of these players that have come in have been so crucial to Birmingham City's upturn this season that's seen them sit in the middle of the table halfway through this season. Let's break down their season then. So then, going through all the Birmingham City games so far this season, game by game, they started away at Kenilworth Road, a very tricky one because Luton Town did finish in the playoffs last season. But remember, I was always going to be intrigued by this game because Birmingham City certainly had Luton Town's number last season. Remember, they got the double over them and they beat them 5-0 at Kenilworth Road last season. Wasn't to be repeated, of course, but it's a solid point there, 0-0 at Luton Town. Then August, they played out their first home game, obviously not fully able to open St Andrews, but they did beat Huddersfield at home 2-1. Remember, that was 2 very tricky games, 2 teams that made the playoffs last season. A 2-1 win against the Terriers there. They went out of the cup, good spirited performance against Norwich, but they fell short. Then the rest of August wasn't great. They lost 1-0 at Cardiff, drew 1-1 with Watford. That's not a bad point, but lost at home to Wigan with 10 men, not very good, 1-0. Rotherham, they lost 2-0, and Norwich, they nearly got a draw, but they lost in stoppage time 2-1 there. So after August, you can see they were slipping down the table. A few alarm bells ringing off there, but I did have confidence in Eustace to turn things around. He was gaining, you know, he was trying to get a foothold here for Birmingham City, trying to find his feet, get his feet under the desk, and so far it wasn't great. But September, brilliant. Really good recovery here. Yes, it's just the 3 games being played out because there was an international break and the Queen passed away, but back-to-back away wins. First of all at Deepdale, where Preston hadn't conceded a goal yet this season. It was a bit of an anomaly, but Birmingham went there and won 1-0. Great result. And then to win 3-2 at the Hawthorns. Brilliant result. Always a tricky place to go for Birmingham City, the Hawthorns, West Bromwich Albion, but what a win, 3-2. And then they drew 0-0 with Coventry. I watched that game. Obviously, I'm a Coventry City fan. Birmingham and Coventry do love playing out draws, so you can see there 7 points from those 3 games. Birmingham City certainly moving up the table as they went into that international break. They came back for October, a bit of a mixed month. They started with a 1-1 draw at Sheffield United. Very good point there. We know Sheffield United are certainly going to be fighting for the automatics. They fell short at Middlesbrough, 1-0, but what a couple of results this is. 3-0 at home to Bristol City. They should have won 3-0 at Hull City as well. They won 2-0. Deeney did miss a penalty late on in that one. Great point against Burnley as they drew 1-1. They then lost 2-1 to Blackburn. Beat QPR 2-0 on the Friday night though. Really good end to October there. As for November, 4 games played out, 1 win, 2 draws, 1 loss. They drew 0-0 at home to Millwall, won 2-1 away at Stoke City, played out a 2-2 draw with Swansea, a late goal in that one. And then the final game before the World Cup, they lost 2-1 at home to Sunderland. They did put up a fight late on, but it was too late. The final game that they played out before this video is a 0-0 draw with Blackpool just after the World Cup. And as you can see, for December, they've got Reading at home, Burnley away, very tricky, but Hull City at home. You know, you've got to be targeting maybe 6 points in those 2 home games. You look at that for Birmingham City. Let's have a little look at their starting 11 then and see what they've been doing so far this season. So then, as I say, the defensive players and the goalkeeper have come in for much praise and credit this season. John Ruddy in goal has been fantastic. You've got Sanderson, Roberts and Trusty. This is how they lined up against Blackpool. They had Colin on the right, Longello, Bielik, who offers a lot in the middle there, Bakuna and Hannibal Medjbury, and Troy Deeney and Chong. An interesting blend of two different forward players there. Deeney obviously coming towards the end, but certainly knows how to find the back of the net. Hogan is their top scorer on 9 goals. Deeney's a little bit behind him on 3. And obviously Chong, we know the quality he's got. Let's have a look at their bench as well. Etheridge, Jukovic, Graham, Lako, James, Bellingham and Hall. So then, as we head over to the table for Birmingham City, they sit in 14th, so certainly better than the last few seasons. Obviously, Birmingham City have had seasons where they've started quite well and then faded away, but it almost feels as if they're growing into this season, you know, certainly after that August where they only won the 1 game at the start. Birmingham City sit in a position where, look, they're 14th, but look how congested that table is. Yes, they could certainly move down the table because it's so tight, but if you look up the table, which I'm sure Birmingham City fans are doing, they are literally 5 points off the playoffs. You know, it's a very tight season. They've won 7, drawn 8, lost 7. They're very much in that mix. As for the expected goals table, let's have a look. Birmingham City are 10th. So we say with expected goals, if you're creating a lot of chances and you keep doing that over the season, you should advance up the table. We've seen that with the likes of Middlesbrough, who are top of the expected goals. They're certainly flying toward the playoffs. Birmingham are in that top 10 for expected goals. So very good there from the Blues. They're creating chances. Obviously, Hogan is standing out with the most goals this season, but Birmingham City certainly do look to be a team that you cannot rule out of that top 6 fight this season. So then, guys, as we move into the second half of the season, Birmingham City are sat right in the middle of the table, bunched in with loads of teams that are certainly keeping their eyes on that top 6. It does certainly seem to me that we've got 3 or 4 favourites for the automatics, the likes of Burnley, Sheffield United, Norwich, Watford. But other than that, I think there's 2 or 3 playoff places up for grabs, and Birmingham City is certainly going to be one of those teams keeping their eyes on 6th place. Can they do it? Well, I'll leave that to you guys down in the comments. Let me know, do you think Birmingham City could make it this season? They've certainly shown signs of improvement under John Eustace. Is it too much of an ask for them to make the top 6 and maybe this season they'd be happy with just making the top 12? Like I say, let me know down below. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next video. Peace out.